Toronto Mike. I'm his guest, Rolf Benmergui.
What a pro.
Toronto.
And that wasn't even scripted, everybody.
You'd never tell.
Maybe next time we script it for you. Welcome to episode 1793 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by retrofestive.ca, Canada's pop culture and Christmas store. Great Lakes Brewery. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Blue Sky Agency. Ask Doug Mills about how Silent delivers the space to focus, collaborate, and recharge. Nick Iones, he's the host of Building Toronto Skyline and Building Success, two podcasts you ought to listen to. Kindling, go to shopkindling.ca for free 1-hour cannabis delivery. RecycleMyElectronics.ca, committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd. It's my rabbi, but not that kind of rabbi. It's Ralph Benmergui. Welcome back, Ralph.
Thank you, Michael.
I'm always instantly calmed when I see you. You have a calming presence to you.
Oh, tell that to my wife.
Well, I will. Okay.
Just call her up.
Did I tell you this about your wife, who I like very much? Smart woman,
yes.
Attractive, way too good for you.
Yeah, way too good for me.
But she does. She has a blog, and
yes.
I was reading on her blog about some very interesting insights she had regarding loss and mourning the loss of loved ones. And then my friend and co-host, I guess he's the host of Life's Undertaking, Brad Jones from Ridley Funeral Home. I said, Brad, we need to talk to Courtney, your wife, Ralph, about what she wrote. Like, it would be perfect for Life's Undertaking. 22 minutes via Zoom.
True.
Your wife said no.
I know.
But why? She's a news person. Like, she's comfortable in front of a mic.
Well, she's a psychotherapist now, but yeah, she was. But she's always been a bit shy. I mean, for a woman of her intelligence, her beauty, her sensitivity, I've never understood it. But I've learned not to fight it. I have a question, though.
Okay, hit me with all your questions. We have a lot of time here.
Kindling.
Yeah.
1 hour, like a person can't last more than 1 hour. They gotta get it to me in the hour.
Like, it's more like, I actually chatted with Michael Davis from Kindling yesterday. He's got a podcast. He came over and I was asking him about, like, okay, let's say there's a game 7 of the World Series,
right? And
your team is playing. Like, they have analytics. They can see an uptick around 7 p.m. People will place an order so that it arrives for game time. I mean, they can see this. Like, Halloween's a big night, and that was actually game 6 as well. But yeah, it's very convenient because you order online at shopkindling.ca, and in less than an hour later, it's like at your door.
Wow. I just find the whole idea that you got to have it now.
Well, that's the age we live in, Ralph, right?
Apparently.
They're ordering Big Macs and they're ordering coffee.
Yeah, I don't do that. But you know what? Game 7, I was in Connecticut at a retreat with 100 men, all of them American except me and my son and both of the rabbis who were there, who were helping to run things. So we were, by the time that happened, there was a sweat lodge going on and a fire pit thing going on and drumming, which I was doing with a friend of mine who we drum all weekend. And I went into our room. My son and I watched the game. I kind of went numb when the number 9 hitter,
Rojas,
hit a home run. Something in me just shriveled up. And I just thought, I don't know why, but I can't, none of this is real from here on in. And when they had the broken bat double play to end the game, I sort of thought, what do you mean? Is that the game's over? Like, I don't get it. And my son was so disappointed. But my youngest son was devastated because he's watched every inning of every game all year. And my wife was devastated. She's a huge hockey fan. Baseball fan.
Maybe both.
No, just baseball. Yeah, I know. She doesn't like hockey.
Well, this was a very likable team, Ralph, right? Like a lot of people, including myself, sort of fall in love with this particular Jays team.
Yeah, but we weren't bandwagoners. We've been there from day one for every season. So totally watching. But it was, I mean, just the idea that we were in a Game 7 in the World Series was just enough for me. I just thought, come on. I mean, we could win or we could lose. It was all one play or another. The whole series was even up. And there's something about being even up with a billionaire baseball club, which is kind of cool. So I just love baseball. To me, I interviewed Quincy Jones once, and he said, baseball is like acoustic music, like wooden music. It's pastoral. There's a field, it's a summer game. And I just love it, like that a guy can hit a single in a tight game, get to first, and have a nice conversation with the opposing player.
I see that, yeah.
Yes, hi, how you doing? How's the kids? Everything all right? And in hockey, it's like, maybe I could change the momentum by punching this person into submission. That'll do it.
Right.
Right, which I don't dig anymore at all. I never did dig fighting, even when I played hockey.
There are interesting differences between those two sports, because at the end of a series in baseball, you pop the champagne. Like if you clinch the pennant, if you win your wild card series, every step along the way, the beer and champagne is flowing, and they have a huge celebration. But in hockey, no, not only is there, but there's no celebration till you win the Stanley Cup. That's one big difference. And the other thing is, at the end of every series in hockey, they line up and shake hands.
Yeah.
You don't have that formal handshaking.
No, not in baseball. You congratulate your own team. My wife has pointed out that she wished they did that.
Yeah.
But they only do that in playoff hockey. They don't do it in regular season hockey.
At the end of a series. But do you feel like maybe there's a little too much celebration on your way to the World Series in Major League Baseball?
Well, it's a 6-month span of 162 games before you even get to playoffs. So, and they get one day off every 2 weeks, and they're really grinding. Yep. So for me, I don't care. I mean, they can spray it all over the place and have a few drinks. I don't care. It's just fun to see them win. And for all the bandwagoners, I hope you stick with it.
I'm okay with, I did this particular season, I actually became a bandwagoner. Like, I kind of took a pass on the regular season, and I got interested the final weekend, and I was there for every single playoff game, every inning, except I went to bed after 12 innings on that 18-inning game.
I went to bed at midnight, 12:30, quarter to 1.
Right.
One of my sons was up till 2, and the other one was up till 3 till the end.
Wow. Yeah. What I remember before, I don't remember anything, so I guess I fall asleep. But I remember the bases were loaded and Lucas was at the plate, and he grounded out to first. I think he had a full count. Like, I remember thinking, walk in a run, and then we can end this now. But anyway, we lost that game in 18. But what a series, right? So many moments.
Well, I love when Toronto just catches fire. It's cool.
Yeah, but I'm glad. I'm curious for your thoughts. There was some sentiment. I think Steve Paikin and others were saying, "Hey, we need a parade for this team because
I actually said that. I was driving back from one of my sons was doing all the driving back from this retreat, this spiritual retreat we were on, and I said, they should have a parade for the Jays, just because what a magical season and what a magical chemistry they had. And he was just like, no. I mean, the players would hate it.
I don't think the players would participate.
Yeah, they just feel like, no, we lost. I can't stand here and go, hey, Toronto, I love you.
Like, parades are for champions.
I guess.
I think Guerrero was in Cancun the next day. Like, I don't think
was he really?
Yeah, I don't think there's any appetite to do a parade, and I'm glad we didn't do anything like that. I mean, let's win the championship, and then we can have a big ass parade. That's how it works, Ralph.
Well, the Raptors, that was huge.
Oh yeah, 2019.
Yeah, that was like 1 million people.
I actually got a copy. Mark Hebscher has a new book. Hebsy has a book on sports media, but it interweaves like his biography, his life, with the history of sports media in this country. It's actually really good. He's going to be at, this is an opportunity for me to invite you and Courtney and your many children and your many friends, Ralph. But
you have many children. What are you talking about?
We're tied up in that regard.
We are tied up, exactly.
Tied up. Do all your kids live in Canada?
Yes.
Okay. Pagan's got 4 kids, and I think they're all in a different country.
Yeah. Well, Zach's out in Europe somewhere. And I'm going to the Eastern final of the CFL with Pagan on Saturday.
I guess that's in Hamilton then.
It is in Hamilton, and I happen to have an Angelo Mosca Hamilton Ticats jersey.
I remember who did he fight? Remember that press conference when he started fighting somebody?
No.
Mosca? Yeah, this is later in his life. But okay, so I'm just going to do this invitation, and then I'm...
Okay, sorry.
No, please. This is a fun combo. We're going to cover a lot of ground here today. I have a lot of questions for you, as you can imagine. It's been a while since you've been here. But so what I'm inviting you to...
Yes.
And I hope you show up at this.
I might. I usually don't. You know that.
I know you don't, but I did notice you came out to a Humble and Fred event in Burlington. So
that's because you kept bugging me about it.
Well, because I produced that show and I was paid to bug you.
Right. Well,
so now I'm now bugging you for free.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
November 29. And listeners, this is for you too. I'm very serious right now. I don't think I've been promoting this hard enough. November 29. It is the last Saturday of November. At noon, if you come to Palma's Kitchen in Mississauga, the second floor, we're going to have a live recording, and this is what's going to happen. You will pop on the mic and say hello to everybody and happy holidays and just be there. People want to be around you, Ralph. So you can do that, but you also get a meal, and you can order whatever you want from the hot table. It's on the house, okay? So Palma Pasta is paying for your meal. It could be pasta, or it could be chicken. It could be, there's a lot of great options.
Do they have vegetarian options?
Of course.
Just asking.
Of course. So Palma Pasta will feed you.
Where is it?
It's kind of close to like Mavis and Burnhamthorpe.
Well, that doesn't help.
Well, I'm going to give you an address, okay? I'm going to give you an address. It's called Palma. If you went into Google and you put Palma's Kitchen.
Palma's Kitchen.
Yes. Oh, okay. You couldn't miss it, Palma's Kitchen. But I can always put this into an email for you. But it's easy to find. Yeah. Or you could Google TMLX21.
And will you be upset with me if I don't show up?
Yeah, I'm going to be pissed at you. Well, I was pissed at you before. I'll be pissed at you again.
Okay, I'll tell you, for most of these things on weekends, it's kind of family time. So
I'll bring them. Okay. But okay, in addition to feeding everybody who shows up, I am bringing cold, fresh beer from Great Lakes Brewery. So I'll bring the beer. You'll get the Palma Pasta. But this is kind of exciting. There's a new sponsor called retrofestive.ca. Ralph, we all know that you celebrate Christmas. You're a big Christmas fan.
I tried to have a tree one year, many years ago in my first marriage, and I just went, I can't.
Was she a Gentile?
No, she was a convert, but no, I can't. I just couldn't have the tree in the house.
Well, let's call this a Hanukkah gift, okay?
Okay,
this is a moose mug, as seen in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Like it's a mug, a ceramic mug.
It's a mug. It looks like that picture there. It's a moose mug.
Oh, wow.
And you can take that home with you and drink whatever you want.
Is there one in here? Yeah, there is.
That's yours. So,
well, now I've got a Hanukkah gift for one of my children. Here's an inappropriate moose mug.
Well, it's appropriate as far as I'm concerned. And I do want to thank retrofestive.ca.
Thank you, Retrofestive.
They are going to give everybody 10% off if you use the code FOTM at retrofestive.ca. This is Canada's pop culture and Christmas store. So welcome aboard, Retrofestive. You've got a gift, but this is a long-winded way for me to say that everyone who comes to TMLX21 on November 29 gets a gift from Retrofestive. And I don't know what the gift is, but Ty, the Christmas guy, says he's spending at least $1,000 on gifts for the first 75 people who come to TMLX21. So this is awesome. It's a free event. I see you. You pop on the mic. You get some Italian food. You get a beer. You get a gift. I want to see you there, Ralph.
No pressure.
I want to see you there. Okay. A lot of ground I want to cover, but you referenced this spiritual retreat.
Yes.
Can you tell me? I mean, it sounds like you guys are become like cavemen or something. What's going on over there? You're drumming on rocks, and then you're in a sweat lodge.
I didn't go in a sweat lodge. I can't do that sort of thing. It doesn't jive with my chemistry, but. It's starts on a Friday at this retreat center in Connecticut, just over the border from New York State. And it's beautiful country. It's the Berkshires. It's just beautiful. And we do it in late autumn, so you get all the colors. Mm-hmm. And it's about 100 men of different ages. This year we had 20 men under 35, which was great because you don't just want, graybeards like me walking around going, hey,
Right.
I haven't seen you in a year. My head hurts. So no, we go and it's they're Jewish. Everybody's Jewish, and it's a really interesting thing. I was talking to one of the man who actually co-founded it 34 years ago, and I said, some of the new guys when they show up, they get a hug from a man, but it's a real hug. It's not man hug where you sort of take the guy's hand and bring him in towards you and then slap him on the back twice and walk away. Then they're going, man, these guys are like, they really hug you. And I said, yeah, it's kind of part of the deal. But what we had this year, I was a co-chair this year, and we did eco-spirituality. And when they asked me last year, would you, chair it this year? I said, oh, only if we do eco-spirituality. And they went, what's that?
Right.
And I said, it's about connecting yourself to the natural world as part of the natural world, not as some sort of petting zoo, nature thing over there. That you are the natural world if you ground yourself in it. So we did a whole bunch of stuff around that, and we do a service on a Friday night and a Saturday morning. I'm involved with something called Aleph Canada. I'm the executive director of Aleph Canada now. And there's Aleph in the United States, which is an ordination program that I did to become a spiritual director. But also they ordain rabbis and cantors and chaplains. So it's a wonderful thing to do. And I do this as part of what's called Jewish Renewal, which is not a denomination. It's more like an innovation factory for how to regain spirituality for people. A lot of people, the statistic is in the next 5 years in North America, they expect 9,000 religious institutions of one form or another to close. Because people don't relate. They're not resonating. They sit, they watch, they go home, they put on nice clothes to do it, but they don't get an embodied spiritual experience. So renewal is about bringing things like meditation and breath and yoga and all those things into your thing, and chanting and slowing down the service and just taking pieces of it and, really just reflecting and not just a presentation by clergy to a group of people who aren't paying attention, frankly, quite often. There's some that work very well in the traditional way, but we are not traditional. We also get a lot of people who are LGBTQ who don't feel like they belong to other kinds of denominations. There's a new one in Toronto, Renewal Congregation that started in Toronto. I went to the high holiday services. We had 150 people. It was great, called Hasadeh, and it's fantastic. So anyway, through Aleph Canada, I'm working with people all across Canada who are doing renewal congregations.
Okay, you've introduced some big things here, Ralph. So, so I'm going to spell Aleph because it took me a while to catch on too. It is Aleph.
Yeah, it's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled. So beta would be Beit.
Right.
Alpha is Aleph. So from the Greek to the Hebrew to the Arabic.
And it's alephcanada.ca.
Yes. And if you dig it at all, please donate so we can create our capacity, because I've inherited something that really needs some donation stuff going on so that we can really jazz it and have I just connected a guy, an old friend in Nelson, BC, who has got a small thing going in his own home once a month in a renewal way, with a rabbi in Regina who has a spare Torah that somebody gave back from a community that no longer exists. And he's giving that Torah to my friend in Nelson. And that's part of what I do, is just connect people and get them to, continue to grow Jewish renewal.
So you said inherited, that's a term you use, but how did you get this? Is this like a new gig for you? Like you're running the Aleph Canada?
Yeah, it happened in, I guess, January, February. I wrote, maybe even December, I wrote on my Facebook, one of my Facebook pages, my personal one, I wrote that I go every year to this men's retreat, It's a fantastic spiritual experience in the service part of it as well, in the Friday night and Saturday morning services. And I come back to Southern Ontario, and there's nothing, nada, the biggest Jewish population in Canada, and nothing. And so I got a direct message from a rabbi who I'd done some coursework, teaching a course for her years ago in Montreal. And she said, "Hi, it's me. We should talk." I said, "Okay." So we got on a Zoom, and she said, "Listen, I'm winding down Aleph in Canada, but I think you should do it." And I laughed. I literally laughed. And she said, "I'm only kind of half kidding." And then we had a nice long conversation about things, and then I had a few more. And then we figured out a way to actually not make it a volunteer thing, but a paid thing, but not a lot, but just enough to keep my attention on it. And off I went, and I thought, what have I done? But I'm really digging it, actually. It's a real challenge to sort of figure out how to create an organic and growing movement to inject spirituality back into what has for many people become a moribund religious piece. Religion's not spirituality. They're not the same thing.
But is that is that a mandatory prerequisite? Like if I remember my university days, it's like, oh, I can't take that. I don't have the mandatory prerequisite. But you need to be Jewish?
No. I think everybody learns from everybody. Like we learn from the Buddhists, for instance, in Renewal, about non-duality, that things are not separate from you. You are part of everything, and everything is part of you, right? Which is the basis of a spiritual experience. Spirituality is a relationship thing between you and yourself, you and the other, and you and the earth and the cosmos, right? So religion is an attempt to build community with a fitness program. So Sabbath, every Friday night to Saturday is a Sabbath. If I want a spiritual six-pack, I got to go to the gym, right? Like if you don't go to the gym, you don't get the six-pack. Right. So for people, they should create ritual pieces that they can incorporate into their life. For some people like me and other people, they meditate. Other people use body work and breath work. Breath work's become very big. And what you're really trying to do is jump over your own brain and experience your spiritual life. I mean, do you realize there's 2 trillion galaxies? Galaxies.
You're breaking my brain, Ralph.
2 trillion galaxies, not stars. Billions of stars in the galaxies.
But doesn't this tend to make you feel insignificant?
Well, it makes me...
Like if you dwell on that for even a moment, you realize, oh, I'm a grain of sand in the Sahara.
There are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand in the entire planet Earth. So what that does for me, it doesn't make me feel insignificant. It makes me get perspective on... This isn't about some thing we call God that talks about how's Ralph doing today. Right. It's like, come on, that's not what I'm doing here. It's more just understanding you're in an enormous cosmic flow of creation energy. So you are born and you find yourself wanting to procreate, right? It's an urge you have in life. Animals, they create. We create our work. You create this podcast. People feel the urge to create. Well, the whole universe is full of that energy, and we're just floating in it. We're not, like when I do workshops with people, I say, so okay, let's get the God thing out of the way. When I say God, what do you think God is?
Well, I've seen God on The Simpsons. He's got a big, long white beard.
No, you're not getting away with it. What do you think God is?
God, honestly, we've had this chat on Not the Kind of Rabbi, but I feel like God is sort of a man-made spiritual being that's somehow overseen all of the universe.
Man-made.
Yes.
So it's really a fiction that makes us feel better?
Yeah, like it's sort of just, yes, I think it makes a lot of people feel better.
Okay, so I think that's the Santa God. The guy with a man with a beard and a naughty and nice list on a throne.
Right.
So it's a noun. It's a thing.
A thing. Yes.
I don't do that. I do a verb.
So what? Tell me,
It's an
Ralph.
action.
What is God? Like, who is God? What is God?
There is no who is God.
Okay.
God is just
Not a being.
It's a place-making name for the unknowable. When you said, don't you feel insignificant when there's 2 trillion galaxies? No,
Right.
I feel like, don't try to pretend you know what's going on here, because I haven't a clue what the big picture is. So that big picture that's always in motion and in action, you can use the word God for it, or you can just call it blah.
Okay, so talk to me like I'm a 4-year-old here for a moment, Ralph, because I have the intellect of a 4-year-old.
Okay,
so
you've wet your pants.
Yeah, well, can I take a moment? I got to change my diaper over here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just, please help me out. So when
All
you
right.
refer to God,
Yes.
and you say this is like it's a placeholder for what? The energy? Like, please,
Yes.
your words, explain God, because you do realize many people think of God as some kind of a being.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't, because I don't think in dual terms that I'm me and you're you and this is that. I think we're all made of the same stardust, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that God is an action. It's an action of creation. I can't possibly know the origin or content of it. I just know I'm in it. So if I'm in it, I have one job. I can either be a cancerous cell in that body, or I can be a helpful cell a good cell in that body.
Don't you think, Ralph, you're confusing things by referring to this as God?
No, I think I'm asking people to take a different look, because what happens...
Let's rebrand it.
All right, so here's the thing. Here's the joke.
All right.
The joke is the student runs into the rabbi from the sanctuary and goes, "Rabbi, there's mice in the synagogue. Like, right there, there's mice." And the rabbi goes, "Don't worry about it." And he goes, "No, I mean, like, they're going to eat the Torah. It's made of parchment. They're going to eat it." He goes, "Okay, fine, relax. Here's what you do. You go, you make little yarmulkes, little kippahs, put them on their heads, give them a bar mitzvah, and you'll never see them again."
I get it.
Right? So that's what happens to people. People get this pediatric version of God that they think kids can understand. They become adolescents and go, "What the are you talking about?" And they walk away. And they never explore the idea that there's something mystic and unbelievable going on out here. And we're just a dirt ball floating in the middle of it.
Yeah, but this dirt ball is fucking it up. Like,
we're fucking up the dirt ball.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Exactly. But like...
I think, you know why? Because this is exactly what our weekend was about. You don't have a sacred relationship with this earth. You don't have a sacred relationship with each other. Things are not sacred. They're profane. That's why you can extract whatever you want from them and out of you. So I only look at you as what use are you to me? Are you going to advance my career? You know, when you went to those parties and somebody goes, "What do you do?"
Of course.
And you tell them and they start looking around you as opposed to talking to you.
Right, because they realize you can't help them.
You can't help them. So if you taught...
Unless they need a podcast.
If you did it as exactly. But if you did it as a sacred thing, a relationship thing.
Right.
Really trying to talk to the sacred part of them, not the what it used to you to me part. That's what we need. That's our problem, is that nothing is sacred.
I like the vibes here. I'm digging what you're saying here. But you said 100 men came out to this retreat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, can we get 1 billion men to that retreat next time? Like I feel like...
But they all go back into their communities and they affect their communities.
Right. But it just seems like, and I know you have to do something. Public Enemy, okay?
Yes.
Public Enemy released a new song I was listening to this week, and it's basically the theme is like, do something, because people seem to be asleep at the wheel. Like it seems like people are kind of sleep. Maybe it's because you get your cannabis in under an hour. Maybe it's because every TV show, every movie you've ever heard of is a click away from consuming over, just a continuous loop. You can go upstairs now and watch, every season of ER that, you can go do that right now if you want. Like
right.
for whatever reason, people are sleepwalking as the world is on fire.
Why do you think they're sleepwalking?
Because I don't have a sense. I was raised to think that when there was political unrest or that punk would rise, and then through the art, particularly maybe great music, there would be an uprising of sorts, right? And I feel like I realized this during Trump's first term. It's not happening anymore. Like it just feels to me like there are people like yourself who are spreading the good word and having your retreats in alfcanada.ca. And I'm trying to do my little part with this particular podcast you're on, and I'm trying to do my part when, this is going to be a lovely gathering on November 29th of good FOTMs. Like I'm trying to do what I can, but it doesn't feel like there's enough numbers to make a difference anywhere.
Okay, so two things.
And I have specifics we'll get into, but what were you going to say?
Two things. One is the revolution's not out there. It's inside. It's in you.
Right.
So there's this thing in Judaism called tikkun olam, which is repair of the world. But what I say is, before you get to repairing the world, repair your soul, tikkun hanefesh, repair tikkun ha'adamah, repair the earth, and then, go for the big banana. But the point is that when you look at people who are kind of paralyzed, the way you're describing them, it's because they're overwhelmed. How am I supposed to put my arms around climate change, for instance? It is too big for me. So I'm reduced to standing in my kitchen, throwing things into different blue boxes, 10% of which will be recycled,
right,
because the game is rigged on that one.
Right.
But what I think those who control the levers of power need to make sure that you and I are contented cows sitting in our houses watching whatever, and that we still have enough work that we don't start to revolt. Because the minute the middle class says, hey, this is fucked up,
right,
you've got a revolution. But right now you've got poor people disenfranchised, middle class people feeling like nothing's enough, and rich people saying, run away, get on a thing, go to Mars. So it's nuts what we're doing.
I find myself sitting here, and you'll tell me about this great retreat, which sounds like it was a good time for you and your sons, and that it sounds like it was very beneficial to you.
Oh yeah, every year I do it. It's wonderful.
But I'm sitting here thinking, like, he went to Connecticut. Like, that's the country where the ICE, the raids, and they're picking out kindergarten teachers and disappearing them. And it just seems like, and this is a country where the president earlier this calendar year talked openly about how we should be the 51st state, and maybe he needs to devastate us economically so that we beg to be the 51st state. Like, these are on the record statements from the president of the United States. Like, I'm actually disappointed you're crossing the border.
Well, my wife was too. She didn't want me to go, but I went to be with people who of like mind and of sacred intention, and to think that Americans are all Donald Trump supporters. I mean, look at the results of the elections that just went by.
I want to ask you about that.
I mean, come on. You had states flipping to Democrat governors that hadn't done it in years. You have state legislatures going Democrat that hadn't in years. You have Benmergui, who is bringing what Bernie Sanders started in. The embarrassing part is the democratic socialism that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Where's the NDP on this? They gave up on it years ago trying to get power. You don't.
Well, they don't even have a leader right now. No,
they don't. But even when they had one, except for a kind of anomaly when Jack Layton managed to get 100 seats,
right.
That's just a one-off.
Right.
But whatever happened to good old-fashioned democratic socialism, we're not supposed to say anything about it. I think it's our systems that don't work. And what I think you're seeing in the United States with Donald Trump is the white supremacist backlash. It's happened ever since Obama. That, no, wait a minute, we're not going there. I have a feeling, I've always had a feeling that America is engaged in a slow motion civil war. That there's the middle of the country is not LA and New York and the coasts. They're entirely different countries. But, we have some of the same things here. Yeah. We can't kid ourselves. So me not going to be with people who have good intention and spiritual direction doesn't make anything any better. And I'm the kind of guy who looks at the planet and thinks, really? We draw these fake lines on everything and kill each other over it?
Right.
I mean...
But we do.
Well, I was in Germany years ago. I had to give a talk, Canadian Club talks that they were doing. Al Waxman couldn't go, so they sent me. So I was remember we had bases in Baden and Lahr, Germany. Baden-Baden and Lahr, where two Canadian forces bases were, Air Force bases, I think. And so I went there to talk. So we go on, my driver takes us we want to go to Alsace-Lorraine, over the German border to France. So we go, okay, so here we go. I've got my passport ready. I'm all ready. We're getting near the border. I'm looking on the sides of the road as we're driving and thinking, boy, people were killing each other in these forests and tanks were rolling over these roads. And then we get to the border. There's nobody there. Nobody. And I said to my driver, well, where's the border person? And he said, oh, no, it's the European Union now. And I thought, all those people, dead bodies that are rotting in that forest for nothing. And we do this all the time. And so even elbows up, for me was like, hey, no. We're the guys who don't even remember what words got changed in the national anthem. We don't get up and have honor guards and military uniforms every 10 minutes. We're Canadians, and we're Canadians as a loose confederation of people who really, if you think about it, this is an impossible country that shouldn't be together, but that's the beauty of it. So for me, all this nascent nationalism is very worrying. People say religion kills people. If it wasn't religion, it'd be your bowling league. It'd be, soccer goons. It's always this, there's two parts to people, the tribal and the universal. We need more universal and less tribal.
Okay, it's a million places I want to go, but a real quick hit here.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Canada's sovereignty is being threatened?
No. I think the man's a clown, but I don't underestimate him.
Powerful clown, though.
Well, powerful for a while. He's in his 80s, and he's not going to get any younger. But he's not the problem. He's the symptom. I think our systems are blatantly showing that things are not fair. That you have people in tents in parks. You have middle-class people who haven't seen a rise in wages in real terms in 45 years. Mm-hmm. You see a capitalist system that is for the rich, and you see people really trying to get at each other in frustration. So I think that Donald Trump will be what Thomas Friedman was saying this on a podcast. What America has lost is the world's trust. People don't trust because it's an erratic, psychotic regime. There's a comic who had what's his name? Miller, Stephen Miller. Is that his name? The guy who was the deputy White House.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. It's funny. I think it's Steve Miller, but
yeah. So
I think that's a musician. But
he's Jewish from California, and there was a comic doing a bit about MAGA, and he was going, "No, I think it's going really, really well." And then he'd do another thing about MAGA, and then he finally said, "And hey, kudos to the regime. I mean, how often can you actually get a Jewish Nazi?" That's fantastic.
Stephen Miller confirmed.
Oh yeah, he's a horrible. Like the worst parts of what's in the underbelly of a lot of people have now been given permission. But the midterms, for me, are a hopeful period of time where Americans can take back what if the midterms go the Democrats' way and they regain Congress, he's done.
Well, Trump ignores Congress anyways. Like
well, he
tariffs and all
ignores
this.
it because he doesn't ignore it.
Well, he bypasses it.
He does more than that. He intimidates it. He says to every Republican, if you actually want a chance of winning, then you have to do what I say. You have to get out of my way. And if you don't, I'll primary you out. I'll get rid of you. But that didn't work this time, right? I mean, he kept endorsing people in the elections last week, and they didn't win. So if you look at the polls of what people approve of, they don't approve of him. Pierre Poilievre in Canada. There are people say, like the guy who just crossed the floor to the Liberals said, right. Too negative. He's just too negative for me. He just never stopped. Like he talks about chaos in the streets. You know the two safest countries in the world? Japan and Canada. And he's talking about it as if there are people rolling over your hood of your car while you're driving with AKAs. I mean, just nonsense, bullshit.
Listen, I hear from people in the 905, okay, so we don't have to go that far away. People in the 905 are like, oh, I'm so glad I left that shithole Toronto. Like, I hear these comments and stuff, and I'm like, are we talking about the same Toronto? Like, you left the city, though. You left for Hamilton.
I left for Hamilton because the city I didn't feel the city could maintain itself with 3 million people in it. Because I couldn't get around. I was frustrated. People weren't being kind. Nobody said hello as I walked by. In Hamilton, anybody
They're saying hello in Hamilton?
They say hello.
Well, it's just Tom Wilson.
Everything's 10 minutes away. It's just a different way. Now, do I miss the diversity and the richness and the liveliness of Toronto? Yes. Do I miss the anxiety of will I have a parking spot? The anxiety of how am I going to get around? The anxiety of how much things cost? No. So nobody has tackled that.
No. I, as you know, my hack for that is I just bike everywhere. But I know not everybody.
But even then,
bike everywhere.
A lot of people don't ride not because they don't want to, because they feel very unsafe. Even the bike lanes on Bloor, right? I mean, you've got
still there today.
Yeah, but you've got delivery, basically motorcycles flying down that stuff.
I do. Yes, that is a new development.
And scooters that are, battery powered that go flying down that street. They're not bicycles, so it's all out of whack.
It's all out of whack. So a lot of ground. I feel like we're still just warming up here, but can I drill in a little bit for your thoughts on what happened in New York City on Tuesday? So, and I hope I say it right, Zoran Mamdani. Did I get that right? Zoran Mamdani. Mamdani. Mamdani.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Hindu mother, Muslim father.
So that's these are firsts. So, it's the young, he's 34 years old. So he's the youngest mayor of New York in like 100 years or something like that. Yeah. And what is he just dropped the fun fact, but he's the first of South Asian heritage. He's the first born in Africa. I'm talking about being a mayor of Toronto, and he's the first Muslim mayor of New York. Did I say Toronto?
Yeah,
New York City. I meant New York City, everybody. What are your thoughts on his victory?
Well,
very progressive.
Yeah, I mean, now he comes up against the machine.
Yeah.
And he has to figure out at 34 years of age how to work against and for the powers that are all around him in a city that has a deep amount of diversity in terms of its income, its pedigree. So he has a lot ahead of him. He's a wonderful communicator, and that matters. He's a hopeful sign for me that I'm a democratic socialist. So he's a hopeful sign for me that if he can even get 2 or 3 big things done, it'll have been worth it. But it also is a sea change. I mean, when you see Mario Cuomo, or not Mario.
Andrew.
Andrew. No, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Cuomo.
Right. So when you see him, you see the establishment of the Democratic Party. I think it was good because it scares them and makes them realize that the Bernie Sanders faction of the party is alive and well and is making big gains. And they need that because, look, fundamentally, I think the hyper-capitalism we live with is our biggest problem. Not Donald Trump. He's just a symptom of that hyper-cap. It's an oligarchy, which is no different than what's running Russia. You know, a bunch of billionaires, and if you don't, in Putin's regime, if you don't agree, if you're a journalist, they'll kill you in a stairwell. But if you're a billionaire, they'll either try to throw you in jail or exile you. And that's what Trump would like to do. If buzzwords for anti-Semitism are like Soros. George Soros. Oh, okay, we're talking about the Jewish guy. All right, I get it. Jews run the world. Well, if Jews run the world, they're doing a shitty job of not gaining really bad attention for it.
Okay, I'm going to bring it closer to home here on that note. So Mayor Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto, she is taking some heat from Jewish groups particularly, but she called the Gaza war a genocide.
Right.
I look to you, Ralph Benmergui. What are your thoughts on the fact, well, she has she has said, basically, she has defended her actions. She kind of says she's going to follow the lead of the International Association of Genocide Scholars.
Right.
So that's the lead she's following on this one by calling this war on Gaza by Israel a genocide. What are your thoughts on all this?
So for me, I think that for a lot of people in I can only speak towards North American Judaism, Jewishness at this point, and I would say that for a lot of people, they've turned the religion into Israelism, and so it's Israel right or wrong, right? It's really hard to speak out and not be called a self-hating Jew. For me, I think the Israel I first visited years ago and the Israel of today are night and day. And I think the Israel of today, because for one thing, they have one of the most horrible voting systems, purely proportional voting. So if you get 3 or 4% of the vote, you get 3 or 4% of the Knesset, the legislature, right? So you have fringe parties that control over the main parties because you need them for a coalition. Netanyahu, for me, has always been awful influence in Israel and will do anything to stay in power and has so far succeeded to do just that. But the hard right, racist, bigoted, horribly intentioned fringe players who are now foreign minister and defense and are destroying the dream of Israel. Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi, Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi, was the founder of Jewish Renewal, and I was rereading one of his first books called Paradigm Shift, and in it he talks about what Israel he would see, and it was fascinating because he said, Jerusalem should be an international city owned by no one. It should be the capital of the United Nations. That's where it should be, not in New York City, not in one of the empires of the world. It should be in Jerusalem. It should be an international city. And the Israeli Defense Force should be the first to volunteer to be peacekeepers in the world. That's how he saw it. And when I think of what's going on now, and when I think of these bloodthirsty settlers who are attacking Palestinians, I say shame on us. Shame. I don't say they're right and we're wrong. You do not want to be in a fundamentalist militia that will throw a homosexual off the top of a building. You do not want to be that either.
Right.
So everybody's wrong and everybody's right. That's the problem. So what I think is that the whole rethink has to happen. Imagine a Middle East where everyone was working together in that region. You know how powerful that region would be between oil money and technology and innovation and climate change initiatives that are changing the world? Drip irrigation, where you have it looks like a long hose and little pinholes in it, and that's that was invented in Israel. That saved the Indian agricultural economy. We could be working together, everybody. Enough already. You're not different than me. You are me.
But that's not realistic.
What do you mean that's not realistic? What's not realistic is killing people for not... Yuval Harari, wonderful thinker and writer, philosopher and historian, he said, we don't kill each other over land. We kill each other over stories. My story and your story. So the indigenous story, the white settler story, the Jewish person story, it's all a bunch of made up nonsense. And I guarantee you, the vast majority of people who have 5 minutes left to live go, what the hell are we up to? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we making these false choices and hating? That's why I say the revolution's inside you, not outside. If you can stop being that kind of person, that's a revolution.
Do you, Ralph Benmergui, do you think that Netanyahu's punishing war on Gaza is a genocide?
I don't know. I don't care because what it's done is alienate everybody in the conversation. You either are with it or against it. What I think is that the Netanyahu government is murderous, disproportionate, and yet I also think if we were living here and the indigenous people of this country too decided we're going to go into Toronto, kill 1,200 people, most of them just people going to concerts, kill them, and then take 250 of them back into the reserve. If that happened here, all the people who think, oh, how could you, this is awful, they would be cheering for the army to go in and attack. What Netanyahu did was not just react to what happened. What he did was become a murderous, awful, awful human being. Going way too far. Way, way, way too far. All of it's way too far. Hamas, way too far. The Israeli right, hardcore right, way too far. Trump, way too far. This is a very dangerous time in the world. There's all kinds of things to be worried about. You know, if China and America actually decided to cooperate, we would have innovations that you wouldn't believe. They have a $7,000 electric vehicle in China. We're not allowed to see it because it'll ruin our auto industry. They have $30,000 EV tractor trailers. Europeans buy them, we don't, right? So there's all this nonsense because we actually think that these are separate countries on this dirt ball. That's why I think it's important to know it's a dirt ball. Stop taking it so seriously and stop thinking you're the biggest thing in the movie.
I just want to shout out Shai Klein, who came over. He was at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th, and we talked for 2 hours about all his, he took a lot of photos of that day. He's a photographer. And I just recommended highly to listen to Shai Klein talk about being at the Nova Music Festival in Israel on October 7th. Was that 2023? Very interesting. But
what did you learn from it?
What I learned is, well, what is there to learn? Like what I took in was his very interesting way of accounting, minute by minute, how it was dealing with his Israeli officers and just to be on the ground there. Now, he was a little bit under the influence, but he's very open about what he was experiencing and how he saved his friend's life and everything. And yeah, it was a horrific day for just a bunch of kids who wanted to go take some drugs and enjoy some EDM, some music.
If you isolated it, it would be, why did that happen? That's awful. But if you put it in the chain of events that have been going on since 48 and before, since the 20s, you understand that everybody's stuck. I did a documentary series on Israel years ago, My Israel, and I was on the plane on the way back with my co-producer, Alan Novak, and he said, so, what do you think? Because we knew we had to come home and edit, right? And I said, everybody's a victim. Everybody I spoke to, family in the West Bank, settlers in the West Bank, religious people, secular people, people in circles with Palestinian and Israelis together who've lost loved ones to these horrible atrocities over the years. But every one of them thought they were a victim. And if you think you're a victim, you can't imagine yourself as a perpetrator. And I think one of the crises of identity going on for Israel is, having lived as the victim, they now have to live as a perpetrator. Right? The worst thing that happened to Israel is 1967 and the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza. Gaza was run by the Egyptians, and the West Bank was run by the Jordanians. And it's all made up. There was no such country as Jordan. King Hussein is not from there. He's from Saudi Arabia. The Hussein clan was kicked out by the Sauds, and they relocated to Iraq and Jordan and made monarchies in places where there were no such people. Syria and Lebanon were French colonial pieces. The English were in Israel. People don't understand. These were, within 200 years, completely fiction based. The Ottoman Empire existed before that, and that was just one large Ottoman tract of land. The only one that was legitimately there from beginning to end was Egypt. All the rest of it's made up. So now we're killing each other over made up places and stories of who we are.
We are doing that, but I want to ask you on this note about a couple of false equivalencies. One of which is that I have noticed in conversations that there is an equivalency being made by some people, Hamas and Palestine. Like,
right.
So when we talk about October 7th, which was a horrific invasion of a sovereign nation, like I'm not, it was awful and horrific, but that was Hamas invading Israel, and Hamas, a terrorist organization, needs to be eradicated.
Okay, so
but
Israel,
right,
in its formation, had what people were calling terrorists, the Haganah. Mm-hmm. They were terrorists. You always call people terrorists. We used to call them guerrillas, right? It was guerrilla asymmetric warfare, resistance. And all those elements are true in these pieces. The thing with the other overlay is fanaticism. As my father always used to say, the minute you feel that someone is a fanatic, watch out. And there are fanatics in the right wing of the Israeli government who are hateful. There are fanatics in the Muslim world who are hateful. But there are, Palestinians who just want to take their kids to school every day and make a living. Israelis, same thing. So what you have instead is people accusing each other of being the one who's wrong, when the whole idea of killing people to get your way is wrong. And I don't care where it's coming from. And it's considered naive to want peace. I watched the film Gandhi again. I watch it about every 3 years because it's a 3-hour film.
Right.
But it inspires me every time. I mean, how much courage does it take to walk up to somebody who has a baton, knowing they're going to hit you in the head, and yet not fight back? Like what they did in Portland when Trump tried to, we're invading Portland because it's a hellhole. And everybody got into fur costumes of bears and bunnies and nude bicycle trips. That was perfect. Yeah. That to me is the response to this stuff, not I'm going to hate you back.
But so back to the equivalency, right? So Hamas is not Palestine.
Well, Islamic Jihad, is it Palestine? Is Hamas Palestine? Is the Palestinian Authority, which is just a puppet of Israel at this point and completely corrupted Palestine. What is Palestine?
Well, what is Palestine?
Palestine is a name for a geographic region that has amorphous ideas of what their boundaries are. You ask 5 different people and they'll tell you 5 different Palestines. What I think is that the people, like Hamas, for instance, was originally funded through Israel to divide and conquer, and then got out of, they lost control of it. Iran, why does nobody talk about Iran? Iran has been funding the destabilization campaign against Israel, the eradication of Israel, complete eradication, kill every Jew in Israel. And people should realize that when you have Israelis saying kill Arab Palestinians, you also have Iran as a government function of saying death to now it's called Zionists, death to Israel as a chant. And Hamas ended up taking over Gaza. There was no democracy to it. They just started killing people from the Palestinian Authority and driving them back to the West Bank, and took over the region and instituted Islamic Sharia orthodoxy. In Israel, you have Orthodox Jews who want to run a theocracy in Israel. So you have all these elements where everybody's screwing up big time. And we're not helping by making sure they all have weapons.
Well, okay. Oh my goodness. So one last equivalency to ask you about, and I know we've talked about this in the past, but it seems with some people that if you criticize Netanyahu and you criticize Israel's actions, particularly with regards to Gaza, and if you dare label it a genocide, that you are being anti-Semitic.
they're not the same thing.
Please speak further on that, because I 100% agree with you that you can be you're not anti-Semitic if you're critical of Israeli policy.
Right. Well, because Israel as a nation with a government is worthy of deep critical analysis. My deeper critical analysis is Israel is losing its way as a country. Now, does that have anything to do with my Jewish life in Canada? Now, if you think to yourself, oh, Jewish, oh, you guys, because we have 2,000 years of scapegoating, 2,000 years of blood libel and priests in pulpits saying we're Christ killers, right? We have 2,000 years of it. And it pops its head up every once in a while, given an opportunity. What we are is a privileged minority in the eyes of North Americans. There are two privileged minorities in the eyes of North Americans, Jews and Asians. You think of Asians as hardworking people, very smart, very good at what they do, you know. You think of Jews as all have money, no problems, and they really run things. Why is it we have all these Jews running things? You know, there's a book called Empire of Their Own, How the Jews Invented Hollywood. I interviewed the guy years ago. Great book about the 5 Jewish men who started Hollywood, all the major studios. And he said, I said, the subtitle of your book, How the Jews Invented Hollywood, did the publishers have any problem with that? He was in New York, I was in Toronto, I couldn't see him. And there was this pause. And then he goes, that was the struggle of my life. They would not put it on the book. I said, no, you got to put it on the book. These 5 Jews invented Hollywood. And finally they relented, but he had to fight like hell because they thought, I just wrote a piece about the new show, Nobody Wants This.
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, so Nobody Wants This. A Reform rabbi falls in love with a Gentile woman, and in the show itself, he's basically doing a primer on Judaism. He explains Sabbath, he explains Purim, these holidays, all this stuff. And I thought, how interesting, considering Seinfeld was a show with 5 Jewish people as actors in it, 6 if you include Jerry Stiller, as actors in it. None of them ever mentioned being Jewish, never made one reference to that. And they end up naming one of the characters George Costanza.
Right.
Like he's Greek.
Right.
So that's what America's always done with Jewish identity in pop culture, is put it under a bushel, just hide it. This show, which was conceived, as someone pointed out in the feed on my Facebook page, this show was conceived and pitched and shot the first season before or at the beginnings of anti-Semitism rising in North America and around the world again. But make no mistake, and I'm amazed it's a hit because it is openly Jewish, right? But what I find interesting is people don't seem to understand how quickly someone can turn to historic tropes that are hateful. So Jews own the media. Tell that to Rupert Murdoch, right? Tell that to the people who run major corporations around the world. And yet, what it's done is make people not trust Jewish people. If I said the word Jew, if we went out right now for lunch, and I went, oh, I met this girl, she's Jewish, that loud, every head in that restaurant would turn towards us. If I said, well, I'm a Jew, that word is explosive. It's a powerful word, but it's a whole group of people who have lived with awful things done to them. And when I think of Israel, I get it. I get why there was a want and a need for an Israel, because we were at the whim and fancy of every country in the world. And if their population decided, let's kill some of them, they did. They just did. Let's not let them in. 60 years ago in Toronto, let's make sure there's a quota on how many Jews can be in the medical faculty. That was just a flat. The Royal Canadian Yacht Club, no Jews allowed. The Granite Club, no Jews allowed. The major golf courses around the city, no Jews allowed. So, no. What was the sign in the beaches? No Irish, no Jews, no dogs. That was Q Beach.
I thought that wasn't possibly an urban legend.
No. Look, the Irish had it just as bad as we did. I mean, the poor Irish who came to Toronto and were in the slums around what became the old City Hall, that was awful. I mean, people are awful to each other sometimes. And I'm trying to live a life where I'm not considered naive for thinking people could be really kind to each other too, because there's 8.5 billion people, but our news represents a very small majority of them. I mean, there are 14 million Jews in the entire world. 8.5 billion people, 14 million. And yet, what's the hubbub? Uyghurs in China, the Tibetans exiled from Tibet by the Chinese, the Sudan Civil War. I mean, the Congo, just atrocities everywhere. If we're going to go march in the streets, let's march about all of them.
So you don't think Mayor Olivia Chow should have to resign because she's called it a genocide?
No, I don't think she should have to resign. I think she's allowed to believe what she wants to believe. If you don't want to vote for her, don't.
Right.
But if you do, because she, got the gardener cleaned up 2 years early, then go, knock yourself out, right? But it's not up to me. Like, I don't like anybody crushing anybody's idea of what's going on right now, because whatever you want to call it, it was wrong and horrible on every level, at every step. Wrong and horrible. So let's just knock off the self-righteousness and start to realize that we need to do more. To be kind to each other.
I'm wearing my "It's Cool to Be Kind" hoodie.
Cool to be kind in the right
cruel
measure.
And cool to be.
No, we're going to change the song, man. It's cool to be kind.
Shout out to Sunshine and Broccoli. Okay, so wow. Okay. By the way, do you think John Tory runs again for mayor?
Oh, I hope not.
But it's being floated around as he's mulling it over.
You're asking me. I'm telling you, I hope not, because he was at best a middle manager. There was no vision.
Mr. Dithers.
The problem with Toronto for me is, where's the vision? Like, even the playfulness and the artistry, it's in pockets, but as a city, I find this in North American politics almost all the time. Very little imagination and very little courage.
Did you notice, though, and you probably watch the Sportsnet feed, but if you watch the Fox feed of the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
We looked really, we were ready for our close-up. I got to say, this city looked amazing. Like, they kept doing these drone shots off the water, and then you see the skyline, and then you come to the dome. We really do look good on film.
And then you see the parking tickets, and then you
see I'm locking my bike up outside the dome.
And then you see me not locking my electric bike outside. Because
but Union Station, that's the other thing that was floating around during this World Series. They kept showing the footprint of Dodgers Stadium, and it's just parking lots.
It's parking lots.
Right? But
Chavez Ravine.
And I can tell you, my wife is working at where is she? York and Queens Quay right now. And she takes the GO train to Union Station, and then it's a short walk. But most savvy Jays fans know the go to Union Station, take either subway or GO.
Well, from Hamilton, I go to Aldershot, take the GO. Yeah. Get out, walk for 10 minutes into the stadium, and
slick, right?
Getting home's not fun. You got to run for the GO train.
Well, that's true. I had that problem with Bruce Springsteen. I was like, the last GO is coming.
Oh, how was Springsteen?
This is a couple of Novembers ago.
Yeah.
And it was my first time seeing Bruce Springsteen, and this might be the closest I've come to a religious experience. It was an unbelievable experience,
isn't it?
Watching him go for 3+ hours. It was unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. I haven't seen him since Born to Run.
A long time ago.
It was at the Maple Leaf Gardens in the Concert Bowl, which was half the Gardens. And then I saw him at the Gardens again with the next album. And it was
Nebraska. The next album?
No. There was another one.
Okay, yeah, Nebraska's the one before Born in the USA.
Yeah, so it was a rock and roll show, no doubt.
Are you going to see the biopic?
Yeah, But what I loved about Springsteen, with, I don't know, 14,000 people in the stadium, is that he made it as intimate as a coffee shop, as a cafe, that he was just singing to you and telling you stories. And what a consummate performer. This is a guy who gives it 120% every time he goes out there. But I haven't seen him in years. I don't go to concerts anymore. They're so expensive.
I was gifted these tickets. A listener wanted me to experience Bruce and gifted me 4 tickets.
Wow.
That's the kind of list I'm telling you.
And you didn't invite me.
I invited my brother, his wife, and my wife. So you were next. Like if I had a 5th ticket, it was going to be Ralph Benmergui. Yeah, you don't know that's not true. So, but what was interesting is when I saw Bruce, and I actually dropped a special episode in the Toronto Mike feed about my experience seeing Bruce, like because it was such a religious experience.
You got to get the Wildly Innocent and the E Street Shuffle. It's a great album.
I've been consuming a lot more Bruce since this November 2023 show. But this was the night after the re-election of Donald Trump. That was the night after. So November 5th, I guess, 2024.
What a sad feeling, eh?
But it was very interesting because Bruce was a bit late, which was unlike him. He was a bit late. But they said there was some flying in from Hamilton, I believe, or something, some delay somewhere in that chain of events. But it was the night after the election. He kind of opened up with a prayer for his country, and it was a song. And it was just unbelievable. But here, so we're going to lighten things up a bit, but I just want to thank a couple more partners of this program, Mr. Benmergui. So we talked about taking the GO or the TTC and walking from Union. A lot of people, Ralph Benmergui, have been called back to the office. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am.
Return to office. So I don't talk to a lot of people about this, but I do sleep with a woman who works for a big bank, okay? And she has been called back 4 days a week.
4 days a week. How does she feel about it?
Doesn't love it because it started, you know how it worked during COVID. It was 5 days a week you were at home. And then they added, I think, 1 day. They said come in 1 day a week. And then they said 2 days a week. And then for quite a while through the summer, it was 3 days a week, which she was fine with. But then all of a sudden in September, it was 4 days a week. So she doesn't love it, but she's a very good employee and makes the bank trillions of dollars, Ralph. So that's what's important here.
Right.
She's got a job anyway.
But she can't call the shots.
She can't call the shots. So Wednesday's her work from home day. Every group, they have these groups at the big bank, and they don't want all the groups having the same Friday to work from home because of office space. Really, it's about office space. And that's actually where I'm going here, which is if you need creative or dynamic work environments for your employees, or if you're responsible for an office, talk to Doug Mills from Blue Sky Agency. He can tell you about the silent pods, for example. You can get privacy pods, and he's got great solutions for you. Doug Mills is Doug at blueskyagency.ca. So he's the man to talk to for dynamic and creative work environments. You got it, Ralph?
So does he do co-workspaces too?
Yes. Like, so any configuration, so office furniture, he works with these brands like Silent and Green Furniture Concept and Rouliard. And he's an absolute sweetheart, Doug Mills. He's sponsoring the show through November. And you can write him about, you can talk to him about the Blue Jay game if you like. But it's Doug at blueskyagency.ca. Let him know you're an FOTM, and he'll answer all your questions about dynamic and creative work environments.
Do you get to play music on this show anymore?
Well, yeah, of course. I have, you know who's on the show tomorrow?
Who?
Your friend, because we've been on, all three of us together on Toronto Mike, Hawksley Workman.
Oh, cool.
Tomorrow's Hawksley Workman. You know who was here yesterday?
Who?
Finger 11.
From Burlington.
Burlington's own Finger 11. And next week, the Trues are coming over. So, there's a lot of music being played on Toronto Mike here. Okay, so just to remind you, Ralph, and the listenership that if you have old electronics, old cables, old devices, you don't throw it in the garbage because those chemicals end up in our landfills. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code, and find out where you can drop off those cables, those electronics.
Recycle
myelectronics.ca. I've done this, so I eat my own dog food around here, as they say. I can't tell you how many cables pile up, and I had cables that I haven't used.
I have a million.
Don't throw them in the garbage because it's like the lazy way to go is chuck it in the garbage. But go
.ca.
Recyclemyelectronics.ca.
Okay.
That's where you go. And last but not least,
See,
this will be interesting to you, I think. Just this week, I recorded a new episode of Building Toronto's Skyline with Nick Iones. He's the host of the show, with Jennifer McKelvey. And we were talking about building homes in this country and what the Mark Carney Liberal Party plans to do about that. But he has another podcast called Building Success, and his guest this week was Steve Paikin. So Nick Iones and Steve Paikin had a great chat. And
Paikin's hot, eh?
Paikin is, since he left his full-time TVO gig.
He's free at last,
and he's happy.
Of course he's happy.
What a segue, because I want to ask you about a job opening, because I was chatting with Steve Paikin about this today. Oh, and before I forget, before I tell you about this job opening to find out if you're interested, because you'd be great at this, Lauren Honickman wants me to say hello to you.
Oh, hi.
Chatted with Lauren this morning.
We did stand-up together years and years ago, and then you became a lawyer, and then he was on City TV. And,
in the other order, though. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. He did the City thing.
City first.
And then he got his law degree.
And now he's working with his son.
Oh, cool.
Asher Honickman. So they're working together. But he's actually a talking head on it was a Crave documentary about the murder of Christine Jessup. And he covered that for City TV. And he's almost like a narrator of this thing. And he was mentioning to me this morning that they're going to air this Crave documentary on CTV Saturday night. So that'll give it a lot more eyeballs and exposure. CTV Saturday night. The Christine Jessup doc, which I came out. So that's just a side.
So hi, Lauren.
Hi to Lauren. The job opening. Okay, Mike, you're hosting Toronto Mike here. Wake up. Okay. Metro Morning. Yeah. As you know, Ralph, that is the morning show here in Toronto on CBC Radio 1.
David Common, host.
David Common, FOTM David Common, is leaving.
Oh.
This was just announced today because, as you know, Heather Hiscox is retiring and she hosts CBC Morning Live on the television network.
David's doing that?
David is going to get that gig.
It's weird. He's good.
Why do you think that's weird? I'm curious.
I don't mean
David, by the way, lives in Etobicoke, so
I don't mean to. I just think Common is a very smart guy. He's got a ton of experience. I would rather have seen him later in the day. I don't know who watches TV in the morning, frankly. I mean, I'm sure people do, but I'm not one of them. It's just too much for me. Right. But
I don't turn on the TV in the morning either.
Yeah. I mean, look, those shifts are brutal. Metro Morning, that Heather's show.
Right.
It's worse on TV because you got to do makeup. So you got to get there even earlier. But man, he's been getting up at 3:30 in the morning. Shoot me now.
I was curious.
I'm doing Jazz FM next week in the morning. I'm doing the morning show, and it starts at 7.
Yeah.
I can get there at 6:30, not 3:30.
Yeah, that's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
But he's a very talented guy.
So Heather Hiscox retires. Her last show is tomorrow, I think, actually. And David Common takes over in February. I think he's going to have his last Metro Morning hosting on January 16th, 2026.
They need a fill.
I actually was looking into this. So, of course, Andy Berry was there for a long time. I actually only start listening to Metro Morning during the Andy Berry era, but
Matt Galloway.
So it was Andy Berry when I start listening, of course. Yeah. Matt Galloway takes over for Andy Berry. He had a good run there. I think he went 9 years at least, maybe 9.5 years.
Long run.
Then finally, after a bunch of guest host, things, they had Ismaila Alpha. Do you remember Ismaila Alpha? And
then he went. I don't know. You see, this is the thing about CBC regional right now. People just disappear. They host, like right now, Ferrelli.
Oh, the Here and Now.
Yeah, Here and Now. So Here and Now had a host, finally. He's just puttering along. And next thing next thing you know, he disappears.
He was interim. Apparently he was interim after Jill Deacon resigned.
Well, nobody said anything. And then next thing I know, it's... what's her first name? Farah Morelli. Yes. So all of a sudden, it's just Farah Morelli and Here and Now.
And she's the permanent host of Here and Now. And then you think,
well, what happened to this guy? I mean, where's he go? And now you got Common.
But he's not let go, Ramraj. He's just doing something else. But similar to I always say the first name. Ismaila Alpha. I used to know his sister, a stand-up comic, actually.
Yeah.
But Ismaila Alpha.
Yeah.
They moved him to weekends.
Yeah.
So he's in Fresh... I don't know if it's called Fresh Air.
It is called Fresh Air. I did it for a while, a few years ago.
but never a great fit, to be quite honest, as a listener. He was never a great fit for Metro Morning. And finally, after more guest hosting, David Common got the gig in October 2023, but he's now leaving. So there is now an opening. I'm curious, if it's not you, Ralph Benmergui,
Yes.
it should be you.
No, it shouldn't be me.
Tell me why it should not be you. You're not interested in waking up at 3:30 in the morning?
No, it's more than that. I went in to fill in for Here and Now a few times when Jill was not well.
Your phone's ringing. Do you think that's CBC right now asking if you're interested in playing?
Oh, fancy that.
They're watching live.
Oh, I'm so touched. No, and when I got there, I realized I looked at the board for where they book the guests and they put them on a board so you can see. And I realized that 35 years earlier in Winnipeg, I had been the guy booking guests in that exact same format. I mean, exact. The 610, the 620, the 640,
Right.
the 650. You got to book these three then. The 720, what's the best? The 720 is the best slot. And I just thought, no. The ideas are not generating the format. The format is generating the ideas.
Right.
And I just felt like there's no risk taking at this point. They believe that it works the way it works and you don't mess with it. And that's fine, but it's not me. You know what I enjoyed doing? Fresh air. Because nobody was really watching it at that point. They'd lost their host, and Sandy Moat was still producing it. And we had a great time. I just started adding things to it. And I'm sure the people upstairs didn't like it, but I just thought, you should have fun with the show. And I don't think there's a lot of fun room in those formats.
Do you have an idea, like if you were king for a day and you could put somebody in the Metro Morning seat,
Yeah.
do you have anybody in mind?
Well, I'd have to think about that.
What about Garvia Bailey?
She's fine. She's good.
Don't say Steve Paikin because he's not interested.
No, God, no. I'd like somebody who doesn't sound like everybody else sounds. Because there's this thing that happens. I kind of prided myself in my 21 years at the CBC that I tried to become as much myself as I could. In some shows that was harder than others. But I didn't really want to sound like everybody else sounds once they're there for a while. You know, it's like how you pronounce Ottawa if you work on the National. Ralph Benmergui, CBC News, Ottawa. What?
Wait, there's an H in there?
Yeah, Ottawa. And I just thought, oh my God.
How does CBC want you to say Toronto?
Toronto. I failed the announce test. When I came from Winnipeg, where I'd been for a couple of years, I was doing primetime in Toronto. And, I want to stop for a second. There was an article recently about late night talk shows in Canada.
You and Bullard. That's it. No, just kidding.
Andrew, I've forgotten his name. He's written lots of things about comedy. He wrote the column.
Okay.
It was the first. I'm embarrassed I can't remember his name, but he was the first person who I read who had a different take on why my show didn't work. And
why did he think your show did not work?
He thought the forces were aligned against it working. That there was too many mandates in there, that they moved the national to 9, and that screwed up everybody's watching habits.
Right.
Like he had all these reasons that I've never been kind enough to myself to think about. I just think I did the wrong show and I made mistakes and blah, 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 and I learned from it and it's all good.
We can't just blame James B.
No. And you can't blame Mark, and you can't
Mark Breslin. Can I ask you about somebody who I believe wrote for your?
Anyways, I really appreciated that he was sympathetic to what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Because my wife read an article about me taking the hosting job with Valerie at midday, and it was written by Antonia Zabrisius.
FOTM.
And Antonia was so not kind in that review. She was trying to say he might actually be good at this by telling me people how awful I was as a human. And I just thought, wow. But I realized I was quite used to reading that kind of stuff. I read reviews. People thought it was great. People thought it was horrible.
But it did become a punchline.
But my wife read that review, and she was like, "Oh my God, that's awful!" Like she wanted to call her and go, "What the fuck? Yeah. What is wrong with you?"
Right.
And I just said,
I'd like to record that call.
I said, "Hun, you can't believe the good reviews and not believe the bad reviews."
Right.
If you're going to live in the world of reviews, they have another job to do. They're entertaining an audience, right, and they have to have strong opinions to do it. I'm trying to just do my work, right? But anyways, it was very nice that I got somebody seeing me from a different point of view than even I was seeing me. It was much more sympathetic. That was kind.
Do you know the name Donna Lipchuk?
Of course.
So Donna, who passed away,
yes.
Only 65 years old. Yeah. But didn't she write for Friday Night?
She did some writing for us. Steve Schuster did some writing. Lawrence Morgenstern, Lauren Froman. We had a bunch of people who did writing. That's another thing is Andrew wrote that the writing room was not strong at all. And you know what? The writing room was a bit of a mess. And if we'd had... You know how many writers there are on late night shows in America?
Well, I think it's a large number.
Yeah, it's about 14 at any given time.
I would bet. I do know when Stephen Colbert announced that CBS was canceling his show at the end of the year or whatever, he said that 200 people worked on the show.
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted that 200 people work on that late night show.
Well, everything from the control room to the writing room to the booking people, to the band, I mean, you just keep piling up people.
Still, if you had to guess, and I know you don't have an exact number, but what would be the number for Friday Night with Ralph Benmergui?
Including everybody, the crew and everyone?
Sure.
I'd say about 70 people.
Still, 70 versus people. 200. Right?
Yeah, but our show cost $100,000 an episode, right? And there was once a week. That's an apples and oranges comparison. Right. We weren't doing a nightly talk show. Bullard did a nightly talk show.
Yeah, another.
And so did Strombopoulos.
So that Red Chair show on CBC.
Yeah, he did that one.
Okay, yeah, he definitely did that one. I didn't know if we'd call that a late night talk show, but
yeah, it was a late night.
He had one-on-one interviews. Got awfully close to his guests. I love the Strombo. Hey, I'm just going to bring in a comment because I had heard from some good sources that the "No Jews or Dogs" sign never actually existed.
Come on.
So I'm just saying, according to my correspondent from 1236, Mark Weisblatt, who I know you...
Weisblatt said that?
Weisblatt says, I'm just going to quote him, okay?
Probably true then.
"No Jews or Dogs" sign never existed in Toronto so far as any researcher has been able to find.
Oh.
So there's been zero evidence, but I've heard this for years, this "No Jews or Dogs" sign, but apparently there is no evidence that this sign ever existed, so... I just wanted to bring that up because I had been told it was an urban legend.
I'd love to know then where I got it.
Well, it's out there. I've heard it from multiple sources. It's discussed quite often. So.
All right, well, I believe Mark, so yeah.
But I mean, then again, the North York Synagogue was vandalized for the 10th time this year, so we have video evidence of this. I was watching the video the other day. So the anti-Semitism absolutely exists, but that sign may not have existed.
Okay.
Aren't you working on a Valerie Pringle, Ralph Benmergui reunion on Toronto Mike?
I've been honestly extremely busy. Like I had no headspace, but when I was driving here, I thought, "Ooh, I'm supposed to do that." So I'll get in touch with Valerie. Haven't seen her in quite a while, so.
I'd love to do it. So I just want to make sure you know I'd love to have Valerie Pringle and Ralph Benmergui. I got you and Brent Bambury. Brent and you were. Who have often been, and you guys, the fun thing is that you guys would have been mistaken for each other at CBC back in the day.
Aren't you Brent? No, I'm not. Aren't you Ralph? No, I'm
Great
not.
episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to do you and Valerie. Almost done here. You've been amazing. Do you know the name David Himmelfarb?
He just passed away, didn't he?
Just passed away. And I wondered if you had... knowing him, because I was interested in the fact he was the one-time manager of Kids in the Hall.
I didn't know him, really. I mean, I'd heard his name, but I didn't know him. Donna, I knew. Donna Lipchuk. Donna used to hang around at Yuck Yucks at the very beginning, and we thought, she was a waitress at one point. And I thought, what's her story? And she had this incredibly dry and acerbic sense of humor. And then she started writing for I Magazine.
Yes.
And she wrote very well. And one of the things about her I always enjoyed is she could write with a real point to what she was saying, but she wasn't a bitter person. She was an ironic person to me, but she wasn't a bitter person. And a lot of people in comedy were pretty bitter. She wasn't one of them. So yeah, she'll be missed.
I want to close by talking about your podcast, Not That Kind of Rabbi. Off the top, you talked about the spiritual retreat you crossed into enemy territory for, and you talked about eco-spirituality. Yeah. And my first thought was Dr. David Seidenberg's episode of Not That Kind of Rabbi, which was all about eco-spirituality. Indeed. So
Neo-Hasid, that's the name of his website.
Right, neohasid.org.
Yeah, great guy.
He's got a book called Kabbalah and Ecology.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's a real rabbi.
Yes, he's an actual rabbi.
Not that you're not that kind of rabbi. So let's just get this out, which is that I worked with you on Not That Kind of Rabbi for years.
Yes, and you still are again.
Well, that's where we're going here. My brother. So Canadian Jewish News.
They carried it.
They carried it for 3 years. And so is there a reason why your podcast is no longer with CJN, the Canadian Jewish News?
Because CJN decided they had too many podcasts and they had to, barrel down. So they chose a few that they wanted to keep going. And Michael Freeman, who was my producer, was very kind in saying, listen, we're moving to something else. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So now I'm carried through the Aleph United States website and newsletter. And that's a nice big audience. I've been getting lots of new people checking out Not That Kind of Rabbi, the Facebook page. I've got some new ones that I'm going to be recording next week, by the way. A rabbi who is really interesting, Rami Shapiro, who's as much an artist and a poet as he is a rabbi, and a real renewal force. And he just got in touch with me because I put out a thing for spiritual directors. It's a whole end of thing. Anyways, I put out this thing and I had a typo in it. And I didn't know him, but he wrote me and said, and made fun of the typo and had fun with it. And I said, hey, I can't believe it's you. Would you like to be on my podcast? And I have one, which I've already recorded. I think I sent it to you. Yes, I did.
Is this about circumcision?
Yes.
It dropped 3 days ago.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It dropped on Tuesday.
I should have done the social media thing.
A little off the top, it's called. I'm looking at it right now. It's 47 minutes long, and it's about it's about circumcision.
And how a lot of Jewish families are opting out of circumcision. They just don't want to do it.
Well, in the 70s, even us Gentiles had it done.
Everybody had it done for a while. But the guy I talked to was the head of pediatric surgery at Sick Kids.
Right.
And he's what's called a moil. And he does circumcisions. And so I said, there used to be this thing, it's healthier. And I thought, is that actually true? And he said, well, actually it is true. Less STDs, less HIV, less infections, urinary tract infections, because the foreskin can hold and carry some things you don't want it to hold and carry. But he just said a lot of people are just going, no, this is too painful. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, a lot of people are probably saying, I'll stick with my out-of-the-box settings. Right? Because you don't need, I am circumcised. I declare, I'll show you later. I will show you later.
No, thanks.
But you come out of the box with foreskin, and why modify it with...
well, you have...
I'm not talking about religious practices.
You have two kidneys, but you only need one. You have a spleen.
I like the spare. But obviously, if you need a kidney, call me up.
You have an appendix, and you don't need it.
That's true. And gallbladder, too, right?
And tonsils.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, so there's lots of stuff in the body. It's just like, I haven't got rid of that yet.
By the way, moil,
yes,
which I learned from a little off the top, the latest episode of Not That Kind of Rabbi with Ralph Benmergui, I learned it's spelled Mohel. I did not know that.
Mohel.
But I learned about moils from Seinfeld. So there was some Judaism that...
Yes, but nobody admitted they were Jewish.
But there's a moil to perform a
Larry
circumcision.
David, the guy nobody said anything. Festivus, not, come on.
Right.
Right?
No, good. You know, your point is valid, but I did learn about the Moyle from Seinfeld. And
Do I get goodies?
well, have I not given you goodies? Okay, so you got the moose mug.
I got the moose mug. What about the...
You have the Ridley Funeral Home
I have
measuring
this.
tape. You have beer, and I know you're not a big beer guy,
not a
but you
beer
might
guy.
have a family member or a neighbor
Our neighbors.
who would love. Your neighbor would love fresh craft beer
Give
from
them to
Great
drink,
Lakes.
they fight with their fists. What about the lasagna thing?
Well, okay, I have a lasagna for you.
Don't
but
yell
it's-
at me.
No, I'm yelling at you because it's a beef lasagna, and I'm mildly
my
embarrassed.
rest of my family eats beef once
So
in a
I
while.
can, because I have one in my freezer, because Palma Pasta has the vegetarian options, but I actually was really busy and screwed up. I tried to get a vegetarian lasagna when vegetarians are coming over, and I screwed up. For example, the great Mike Wilner, I would bike to him a vegetarian lasagna just to make sure.
Well, bike to Hamilton. You can
You know
bike.
what? I've done it before.
How long does it take?
Well, this was for the Ride to Conquer Cancer, so it doesn't really count. It took hours. You know that Burlington visit to Kelsey's?
Yeah. You
I
were
biked
there.
to that.
How long did that take you?
I can tell you, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Like
but it
an
was
hour and a half or something?
It was like 50K. So what does that take me? I don't know. A
2
couple
hours.
A couple hours, yeah.
Yeah, my wife can do 20K easily in an hour.
20K, I laugh at 20K, okay? I'm just kidding, Courtney. Okay, Courtney, future guest on Life's Undertaking.
I don't know about that.
I gave up. I got the message.
Listen, I said, come on, hon, you can do this. And she was like, no, I don't want to do it. It makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you make me very comfortable, and
thank
let's
you.
not wait so long to get you back on the mic, but I'm going to try to get you on the mic on November 29th at Palma's Kitchen for TMLX 21.
You'll really try hard.
I'll do my best. I'll
You'll
do my best.
your best.
Thanks for doing this, buddy.
Hey, no problem. My pleasure.
Enjoy that moose mug. It's a Hanukkah gift for you. When is Hanukkah this year?
I don't know. I think it's like the 14th of December.
So sometimes it sort of
It's
aligns.
a lunar calendar. It's not your Christian calendar.
You know what? I'm gonna celebrate Hanukkah.
Does it
this
make
year.
sense to have a new year in the fall or a new year in the middle of winter? I rest my case.
And that brings us to the end of our 100 and what is it? 1,793rd show.
Close.
Maybe my favorite.
So sad. I'm so sad.
Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Again, Ralph is now with Aleph.
Aleph. ALEPH. Aleph Canada. One word. .ca.
So
Donate
go there.
now.
Don't give him your money.
Don't give me the
after
money,
you become a
give it the
patron
money.
of Toronto Mike, give him the rest. Okay. Much love to all who made this possible. Again, that's Retro Festive, our newest sponsor. We love you at Retro Festive. They're giving everyone a gift at TMLX 21. Great Lakes Brewery, delicious beer. Palma Pasta. We got a lasagna for Ralph. Nick Ianni's has got a couple of great podcasts. Kindling, go to shopkindling.ca.
An hour.
Less than an hour.
Thank God.
RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Blue Sky Agency, and Ridley Funeral Home. See you tomorrow, and my special guest is Hawksley Workman.
Hi, Hawk.
I'm going to see him in Guelph. You should come to that show.
I should.
We'll hang out in Guelph.
Yes, I'll do that.
Let's do it. See you there, Ralph.
All right, bye.